Hello. Hello. Thanks for coming. My name is Danie Bertina. I'm from Carlsen Gracie, Amsterdam, and I've been training jiu-jitsu for 18 years. I'm still not very good, but I try not to let that limit my enjoyment of jiu-jitsu. I want to talk a little bit until 10 minutes past, and then I'm going to show 3 positions that seem to be unrelated. One transition from standing to the mat, one posture you can use on the bottom of close guard, and one position that you can use to crack the guard open without having to stand up. What I like about jiu-jitsu is that if it's done well, it's an open exchange of ideas. The last position I'm going to show is something that kind of got conjured up in a year-long conversation I've been having with Preet Mikkelsen. So it's pretty cool. I like it. I've been using it with the people that I train with back home, and I have 4 hours of rolling footage with me using this particular break, and I've had really good success with it. But it's not absolute, and it can be countered, like anything in jiu-jitsu. If it would be fail-safe, you would only need one position. So there's always going to be variables. But I like this position. Then the first position I'm going to show is a particular way to yank somebody down unexpectedly straight into a submission hold. Because why not? Why would you separate takedowns from submissions, from ground positioning? At the highest level of combat sports, one of the highest levels I think is MMA and competitive judo. They transition straight into mat work, if they're good. Otherwise it's clunky. You get a takedown, like, oh, I'm here. You try to pass, it becomes separated. It becomes an unnecessary long sentence. The better you got, the shorter the distance between the shake the hands to that. So, my idea about jiu-jitsu, I've always trained part-time. And that means that I have to make choices. Do you want to specialize and become nerding, like a complete nerd on one particular subject and skip a bunch of stuff? Or do you want to be a generalist, but be able to swim and play with everybody? I think also from a philosophical standpoint that generalists win at the end. You can debate it, whatever. I want to be pretty okay in pretty much everything, so I don't have gaps. That's my idea. So when it comes to jiu-jitsu, is that I want my jiu-jitsu, 80% of my jiu-jitsu, to be completely idiot-proof. That even if I'm tired, stupid, hungover, semi-knocked out, I will not do something that will get my teeth kicked in. Should shit hit the fan. The fan. I'm looking at the fan. So that's my idea. So that means I'm not particularly interested in extensive lapel entanglements. I'm not interested in holding on to collars for dear life. I will use natural handles on the body and play with that and see what happens. Also because I think that translates really well into 4 areas of jiu-jitsu, 4 expressions. Sport jiu-jitsu with the gi, sport jiu-jitsu without the gi, would also include like submission grappling and the submission only, which is a completely different animal because it negates, it pretty much goes against all basic positional hierarchy. People just jump into crazy shit. Then there's MMA or Vale-Tudo, different expressions of combat with or without headbutts, you know, in Brazil or in, I don't know, in Ukraine, maybe they still do that with headbutts, a little headbutt here and there. But that and like pure self-defense, 5 guys on 1 while you die, but at least a drunk asshole in a bar. If you get your techniques to work in all 4 areas, you should be very lucky. So that's my plan. So what I do, I try to do 80% to 90% idiot-proof, simple jiu-jitsu that will not get my teeth kicked in, and then 10 to 20% completely freaky, autistic, weaponized nerd, strange, flashy, cutting-edge stuff. Sprinkle it on. But that should not, from my estimation, should not be your base. Your base should be simple shit. So, that being said, that's my idea about jiu-jitsu. Because I have a limited amount of time to train, I need my techniques to work in all situations so I can play with everybody. If you can play, you're happy. I am. So, that's it, I guess. So, today we're going to talk about angles. Jiu-jitsu is all about angles. But the main thing, I like to play with like rules of thumb. Simple rules that if you play the game according to those rules, you'll be okay. So, for instance, when it comes to leg locks, he who dominates the knee line dominates the leg lock, offensively and defensively. If you are the master of where your knee is at in regards to your opponent's knees, you're king. And then everything else adds on to that. Otherwise, maybe there's a rolling toe hold here and there, but otherwise that leg control is what you need. Same thing with just general angles on the ground. So, can I get Aaron? No, we're going to stand up, right. If we just stand here and do a pushing contest, right? You do a little sumo stance, a little lean on your toes. We're just going to lean into each other, try to push each other over. Like the strongest guy is just going to win, right? Or the guy that's best at sumo. So, but if he stands like that, he just stands like that. When I start pushing there, it's an angle. But obviously, when we're standing, I've tried to take him down. He's not going to stand like this. He's going to frame up on me all the time. So I need a way to make sure that the angle that I want, which is that 45-degree angle, gets reinforced. How do I do that? Russian ties. So either he grabs my, we're locking up, either he grabs this, or I'm a ninja, and he tries to grab it, and I go, what? And I'm here. So look, the grip, many ways to do it. This is taught a lot, which is like palms to you, like you're carrying a log. But the variation that I'm looking for is palm in, palm out, monkey grips. And essentially, are you okay? Essentially, I'm trying to almost armbar him. And now I lean into him, and he tries to regain posture a little bit. So I'm always kind of like doing it. So this hand is holstered, and this is on the shoulder. Should it slip out, I yank it and make sure that I retain control of the shoulder, leaning into the shoulder and holstering here, and I lock it in my hip joint. He locks up, like if he grabs it, I grab it, pinch, like I'm holding a violin or a rifle, if you want to be friendly. Bump, here, oh sorry, I'm here, and I re-grip here, holster it. And now, either he keeps his head up, I put my head in his chin and yank him down like that, or I yank him here and I keep my head on there. And I walk with him a little bit. This is a reinforced angle because he can't just shrug it off, right? So I'd like you to go with your partner and frame up, and you don't have to do it, first do a couple of dry runs to get the grip, because the grip is monkey grip, wrist, shoulder. Should it slip, I push and pull, and I yank it up here. And it's like I'm doing, oops, standing armbar, almost. It should be this uncomfortable, and I'm on my toes, and I'm tripoding almost into it. And I can kind of play, and it tries to regain posture a little bit. And then use head control. I do not let Aaron control under my head and frame up on me. Then the move is gone. I got to do something else. The grip one more time. So I'm here, pinch it, and I shoulder bump. If you're mean, if you do this hard, it's almost a snapping Americana. Boom, here, and I have the regrip. That's the only transition. Pinch, head control. Now with your partner, maybe he might put his head inside, and you just, like a dog, like a Rottweiler fighting, you use your head, and you lose the lean. Holstered, shoulder. First do a couple of dry runs, and then do it a little bit like, give like 30 to 40% resistance. All right? Let's do it.
There you go. Yep. Good. I came late. Yeah.
Yeah, move a little bit.
Good question, I heard. Is there a risk when you go for the, like the carrying lumber posture to the mixed grip that you lose the arm? Yes. Tough shit. What you can do is for us. So here, everybody does that really nicely. This is like a lazy limp up. And then I switch. But what I do is this is already, I'm already pressing. So I'm here and I pin it in the wrist, in the rib right away. And then I hit it quick. Just have to be quick. But it's on the ramp like this. I see some people standing like this. And I see some people standing like this. Don't do this. Because you grab, he can just, even if he doesn't know any wrestling, he sees a leg, he's like, oh, I want the leg. But here, and it's almost like a sprawl, like a tripod ready to sprawl if shit goes wrong. And even if shit does go wrong, I'm like, I have the answer. So you enforce a 45-degree angle at all times. Do not accept 90 or do not accept facing off, because that is the better wrestler will always win. Better wrestler always wins. But thanks. But do not accept anything else but 45. So that's other problems you run into this. Is it? Yeah.
Is it what's the best way to get the shoulder grip? When I do the first initial bump, then sometimes I got stuck on the elbow trying to grip under.
So I'm here, I bump, and I get it. And if I don't get it perfectly, I get this, and I yank it down. I just pull it.
You bump with your upper.
Yes, and it's pinched. His shoulder is pinched in between my forearm and my shoulder, and I enforce it with my head.
Ah, okay, that makes much more sense now.
Yes? Now, from this position that you all do really well, make sure that you never accept disconnection from the head, because he can head fight with you all the time. So this head, I'm always, it looks a bit, well, it is me. So use the head control just to fight in. Now we're gonna do one grip change. I'm holstered, I'm leaning, to enforcing that one. So I went from here, I slide down, and I'm here. And I go here, and now it's just yanking down, right. Crucifix, harness. Harness is one step, two. Ken Shamrock, Hoist Gracie, UFC 1, sort of. Bump, holster, get it. Fuck with this base a little bit. I could, in theory, go straight to it, but consolidate first. Over, under, over. I can trap the wrist as well while I climb this up and finish here, or finish like this. Or double up, slice the head off. Big guys or girls, pump the pump, crank it like that. Notice, pinching as if my life depended on it. Because if I lose this, bad things happen. He might reshoot, get his leg limp, get his arm out. Pinch this as if your life depended on it. And make sure that it's bent in one way or the other. So you have to sometimes wiggle your butt to get it. So it doesn't, I don't want to see this. And don't triangle because you think it's safe. Because look at all the space there is. if he just limps, he can just limp it out, right? Pinching the knees, vicing the knees is more important than triangle. It's this false sense of security. The guy can yank it out. Pinch. Actually, it's almost like a scissoring, right? Shoot it up. This is enough sometimes. What you can do is like drag that down here, so he's face down, and just transitional taps. I talk too much.
Yeah, please.
I'm gonna take it easy, son. I wanna show again. So he gets boom. I'm here. Yank. Get it. Harness. Shoot it. Oh, he's already there. Shoot it. Now, don't do this. Comb his hair. You have a knife here. You slice the head off. And you make a fist. And you close the out. Whoops. There you go. One more time this side? Yeah. One more time. Like this? I mean, want to sound pitch. Boom. Oh, see, I lost it. Oh, I lost the grip. I'll just fucking get it again. I'm here. I wait until I hand it off. Don't do this. I can't get the crucifix. Well, yeah, I'm here. Boom. You can make the sound effect and chop the head off. Reinforce the mataleon with your chin so it doesn't get peeled off. Okay? Let's do it. I'm going to show this move, the same move on you, because you're lighter. And Aaron Ross has a sore arm because I want to yank him down a little bit harsher. It's all right. No, but I'm not ambidextrous. I can only do it really well on this side. Boom. Head control. Look, I try to maintain 45. I roll with this. Yeah, that's it. People ask me about transitioning to the mat. I double up, I sprawl, and I go. I yank and I boof. I land on them. That's what you want. It has to be kind of a violent yank. You can be as nice or as mean as you want with it. But the idea is to basically just, it's on the hip, boom. And the more you sprawl into it, the more he's gonna face plant, and the choke is there, because blah, what happened?
Daniel, how far through, when you pull his arm through, where does his elbow need to get to? Does that need to get to past your knees?
Well,
so
like if you just go turtle please. So, if the same thing applies with leg locks. So if the bend is past my squeezing part, he's gonna yank it out easy. Yeah. But here, he's gonna have to do a lot more work. And even if I'm not just pinching like this, I'm actually like, can you stand up please? I'm not pinching like this. I'm pinching like that. It's a scissor. So it's not just that, it's that pinch. So it should be also kind of uncomfortable on the bicep. See? Of course you can roll, you can do whatever. But this is a quick finish. Any other questions with this position?
Why do we switch the grip? Why can't we straight connect it with the under grip? If you connect it anyway, doesn't matter?
I kind of, if you can do it, when somebody's resisting, then it's good. I like to climb ropes. In passing, I'm always climbing a rope. I'm climbing a rope towards the neck. I don't teleport to the back. I'm not Marcel Garcia. I can jump into it. Maybe you have monster grip. I've seen people also just sit here and just double, just not even do that.
No, that's not what I mean though.
Sorry.
And then we switch the grip to this, but start with the under grip with the right hand. Yeah. If you connect from here your hands, can't put him down from there, can't you?
Yeah, you can do this. Last year I showed this one.
Yeah.
Or you can do that one. This is a nice one.
But this movement with this bit, you can't do it with this.
No, because it's a fucked up angle. This is not strong. He can, look, there's opening here, he can just yank that arm. Then I have this, of course, I can do other things. Sven's going to show arm drags, that's an arm drag. So, of course. But this is not strong. That's strong because I'm also kind of pushing it into it, right? And make sure that, what's the title of the class? Angles. So make sure that if you feel weird doing it, it's because probably you're 90 degrees, you have to be there. Kind of at 45, 90, boom, and I'm already here. And I like to trap that hand for a bit, but now he's already screwed. I can just, because it's right, he falls into it. That's what I like. Make sense? Number 2, completely unrelated. Thank you. Mr. Ross. So we talked about reinforced angle standing. Now, in guard, close guard. The more I sit here, I die. The more I'm even slightly at an angle, I win. It's that if I'm attacking him, the more Aaron stays straight and postured up, the more he wins. But if he makes angles and starts cranking, we're talking about that later, he wins. The person that dominates the angle, dominates, not even initiates. He can start doing it and I break his posture and then I dominate angles. The person that can consistently dominate an angle wins. And to make your jiu-jitsu idiot-proof, you reinforce the angle. So you can take a breather. So I'm going to show a variation of the Williams guard by Sean Williams from Renzo Gracie's. I kind of cobbled it together from what I saw online and kind of play with it. And it's also, I also stole some ideas from Steve Maxwell from this. Nothing of this is my idea. Everything I do is stolen. So I don't sit there with my butt on the floor. I put myself in his hips and I monitor at least the hands for now. This is a strange tension. Now I'm going to do the swim move and I make sure I don't headbutt myself in the face with Aaron's head. So I go inside and I frame and I just make sure that I guide it into the pocket here. And look, I have an angle and I reinforce the angle. This is a weird position. I go inside, I block, I put the foot on the hip, I escape, I lock for now, and I can go under my own leg, cup the shoulder, shave the face away, and frame it. My watch is on his neck, and I enforce that. And I pinch the shoulder. This is what you want. You can stay here till kingdom come. But that's good because it's frustrating for him, and I have reinforced my angle. Almost everything he does here will lead to a submission if you're sharp with it. So never just passive hips. I monitor the hands. First I pull my knees down and put him in the lap. And now I put my knees to my nose and I don't make sure I don't elbow him. Normally I would. I let him eat shit here. And I guide him in. Escape, reinforce, and I slide this under. Keep head control, shoulder control. Shift, brace, and reinforce the brace. Yes? One more time?
Can you turn a little bit?
Like this?
Yes.
Never passive hips. He'll bite my heels down. And now I pinch, reinforce one, switch, reinforce. I maintain my 45-degree angle and I have complete postural dominance. Also, for fighting, horrible, 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 right? Hammer fist. Make sense? And you can't hit me, you can't even bite me. Yep. Okie dokie. Well. So,
couple of couples ago. You know, a little bit more.
Make the most use of it. Yeah.
Das würde ich sagen.
And then it's already, the party's already over. But the only thing is I hope that these postures that I'm going to show is something that if you just remember the posture itself, everything else flows from that. So you only have 3 things to remember, essentially. So, because there's a million variations you can still do from here and whatever. And I want to show the other position too because it's cool. And we can end the class with 5 minutes of just active sparring from close guard and trying to break open guards. That's what I'm going to show now. One question I want to address, people ask, what do you do when you try to do the omoplata and the opponent rolls? Well, you can't really stop it. If they're aggressively rolling and if they anticipate the omoplata and they invert, they go there, it's very hard to stop it, especially no gi. Gi, I might be able to grab the collar and just slow it, but the whole game is like slowing down the movement as long as so I can still control it and end up on top and use it as a sweep. So, Aaron, I'm not going to show this in detail, but just to give you an idea, when he rolls, and when I feel he's rolling, I'll just try to at least slow it down as much as I can, and still pinching, whatever, and I sprawl and do whatever you want, or you can, that's really nice, to just re-roll again and end up on the back. Buy some Marcelo Garcia DVDs. Because I might have seen it on that one, maybe. So the last position, okay. So this is so cool because this is something that's basically just I got from the internet, from Prit, and we were just sending each other some videos to play with this and play with this. It's so cool. So, okay, there's a whole system to it, but the system is not. I teach it sometimes to my guys, but it's missing some elements. So I'm just going to show one position and we're going to play for that. So we're talking about angles, right? I will never open a guard when I'm in front of the guy like this. I have to get my enforced 45-degree angle. I am not flat on my feet. I have active toes, pinch the hip, tilt the hip forward. It's a modified Henry Akins, we call it, modified Akins. These are, we call it modified Akins, because that's where we got it.
Modified by 3.
Okay, I have to make an angle. So what you can do is basically, I pick a side and the hand rests on the hip bone, and I have to do a slight lean and step up. Pinch that in, and I tuck this elbow. Or actually, it's better if we do it here. This is it. So I'm here, bicep, step, and pinch that leg, pinch it into the knee, making an uncomfortable crook and bend. I brace down here, and my weight, my eyes should be kind of above the shoulder. Not here, not here. Here, I only stay here for a little bit, to insert my hand in the crook and pinch the elbow in, and I do a to there. And now I crank, and it's open. Other side. So I'm here, these are just floating hands to make sure the guy doesn't sit up. So when he tries to sit up, it's like tapping the person down. I pinch, and my weight is here. Insert the hand, and it's cranking the hip, pinching that in. Don't make this loose. The person can do all kinds of horrible things to you. Pinch that and open. It opens all kinds of beautiful entries with the legs. Play with this. weight is here, insert, loop it back, and then I crank and screw it back, open. Just play with it. So first just do I do 2, you do 2, and then I'm gonna put a timer, maybe a little timer. Every minute, change positions and try to break the guard like this. It's just an experiment. All right? Let's do it.
Okay, ich bin auf den Ziel. Pass also. Stellen auf das gegenüberliegende Seite.
My only frustration is like I feel if I do.
A couple of things to be mindful about this position before we do. Then we do 5 short rounds of 1, or maybe 6 short rounds of 1 minute each. You know, I say change, and you go from top to bottom, and you just kind of spar with it. To be mindful of the. Don't worry too much about this first position because that requires a lot of more balance than I can teach in 5 minutes. But just get into this position blocking. Make sure that this foot is not tucked too much, and I'm just using that. I'm stepping out, and it's a kickstand. Don't do this. This is too weak here, and it's enforced. And I'm torquing the hip. It should be pretty uncomfortable for your opponent's hip. I reinforced that there, and now I have to make leverage to lean into it, and I can just crunch and screw back. That's it. I keep that pinch. Nice, whatever you want. But make sure that the posture, the first posture is here, and then you touch it, and this is a kickstand into the hip joint, and you're crunching the hip, and you're looping out. And then it's just like this, slightly angling back, and you keep that 45 crank on the hips. Just as a pointer. It's not gonna work now, maybe, but some people might have that little spark. You just play with it during the camp. Now, we're just gonna go with your partner real quick, and every 1 minute I'm gonna say, Kotai! It's Japanese for change. And you go top to bottom. Yes? Yes. Hashime!
Nee, hat er aufgemacht, weil er gedrückt hat.
War jetzt auf die gedrückt.
Ja, ja.
Okay, cool.
Da bin ich und das kann ich angehen.
So, obviously not enough time. But I hope if you just remember these 3 positions, these 3 postures, and play with them, see how they fit with your game. Maybe you say, it's bullshit, it doesn't work, that's fine. But maybe you say, oh, there's something there. And then adjust and come back to me and interpret and to all the black belts here, because we have a shitload of black belts with a lot of experience here. So play with it. Only 3 positions. Remember that, right? So you're always welcome in Amsterdam. Send me a message and I'll try to put the pressure to you. Okay? Huh? Carlson Grace. Academia Carlson Grace. Carlson Grace Amsterdam. Welcome. Okay, let's take a quick photo and then it's off with the fantastic. All right? Quick photo, guys. Okay, let's go.